Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of Salem Season 1, which is a show that aired on WGN America. It ran for 3 seasons, just 3 seasons. It just ended its third and final in January. And I actually got into the show because of my girlfriend. We watch a lot of TV together, and this is one of the ones she had me check out. We watched most of season 1 together, but then we sort of got distracted by other things, and eventually I decided to give it another go, and I'm glad I did. I wish I would have given it more of a chance when we were initially watching it, because this show is highly overlooked and underrated, I think. It's like I said, it was on WGN America, and that's not like a huge network. It's not like your AMC's or your even like your Showtimes or HBO's, really, as far as like subscriptions go. Not everyone gets WGN in their cable package or whatever. It sort of like falls along the lines of like Penny Dreadful for me. I'm not saying it's as good as Penny Dreadful, but I'm saying that was like a supernatural gothic drama series that should have gotten about 10 million, probably about 20 million more viewers, but it never did. It was such a phenomenal show. And this one, the ratings for this one, it's like peak were just about 1.5 million for the premiere, and then the rest, for the entire rest of the series, it fell like under 500,000 and below, which I think is just ridiculous, because this show is actually pretty damn good. I really like the first season. I actually already started the second season today, and it's off to a pretty crazy fucking start. So I'm pretty eager to watch more of that. I'll certainly review season 2 once I finish it eventually, and so on and so forth. This is a very good show, and it definitely should have got more attention while it was on air. I'll explain to the basic premise real quick. Of course, like I said, it's more like a supernatural, horror drama. I've also seen it called like a gothic romance, because a gothic romance, often involves supernatural and heavily tinged with horror. Usually set against dark backgrounds of medieval ruins and haunted castles. It follows like a governess or something like that. So I can see how that would apply too. It's definitely like a gothic, horror supernatural series. But the basic premise, anyway, of course, it takes place in the 17th century. Revolving. It is revolving around the Salem witch trials. That took place during that time. But of course, with this show, there definitely are witches. There's no real question of it, but it does involve a lot of the panic of that, the townspeople and such, and sort of the desperation and different things of that nature. The series stars Janet Montgomery as Mary Sibley, a powerful witch who controls the Salem witch trials by exemplifying hysteria among the Puritans while executing her plan of summoning the devil. Problems arise when her long-lost love, John Alden, played by Shane West, returns to Salem, complicating Mary's plans. So that's the basic setup of it. And, I'm not going to try and go into every detail of the story, because that would take too long, but it has a really solid cast, too. Janet Montgomery as Mary Sibley, she gets better as it goes along. I grew to like her a good amount. I wouldn't compare her to Eva Green on Penny Dreadful or anything, but she becomes a very capable lead actress, I think. And she can her character is sort of interesting and dynamic, because at first she comes off like she might be like the main antagonist of the show, and there are moments where it definitely still feels like that. But at the same time, she also has a pretty sympathetic background, to what happened when John went off for war, and everything that happened with him and the Indians, which we found out a little bit more about towards the end of the season. We're seeing more of that in season 2 now, or I am, anyway. And everything she put up with in those years he was gone. It sort of gives you a little more sympathy towards her and her whole plot with the leader of the town who sent John off to war. George Sibley, I should say. you do develop some sympathy for her, and you sort of get a little more behind her later in the season. So I found that to be pretty good, fairly well executed. And yeah, Jenna Montgomery's pretty good. Like I said, she's no Eva Green, but she is good. Like I said, she can sort of flip the switch between that sympathetic side and sort of that more, sinister, type of witch, part of her. And she sort of changes her voice tone a little bit. So she's pretty good. And then Shane West as John Alden. I really like him. He's a very capable and fine actor. I've liked him in other roles I've seen him in. I really liked him as Michael and Nikita on the CW. He was great in that. Excuse me. I've been seeing him in a movie called League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and I found the movie enjoyable for what it was. But he's a good actor, and I like that he's a very capable male lead as well. And someone else I was particularly impressed by was this character named Cotton Mather, played by Seth Gabel. He's one of the priests, or sort of the ones trying to root out the witches. And he became, like, although John Alden's sort of our protagonist, and Mary to an extent towards the end of it. Cotton, I would say he's actually probably our most dynamic and developed character in season 1, because he goes off coming off like another antagonist initially. Then we find out more about his background with his father, Increase Mather, played by Stephen Lang. It was also really fun to see him on the show. I've liked him in Terra Nova, Don't Breathe, everything like that. He was good. But I would say, Seth Gabel's character, Cotton, he was the most developed character and the most dynamic character on the show, along with probably Mary in the first season. So I liked him quite a bit as well. And then he even had Xander Berkeley, who I really liked him on Nikita as well. It was good to see him and Shane West on this together for a bit. Of course, he's Gregory on The Walking Dead now. He was in Being Human season 3. He gives a very fine performance in this one as well. And the rest of the cast is, they're fine as well. They're not quite like up to par with the ones I mentioned, but they can definitely keep the show going and such. It's a darker show. It's not on like Showtime or HBO. So there are moments where you can tell they have to hold back with some of the violence or some of the darker bits of it a little bit. But there are other times where you're like, oh, whoa, they actually let him show that. Like there's a particularly violent death towards the end of the season, which I was pretty surprised by how much they show. And let's see. Yeah, okay, the Anne Hale character played by Tamsin Merchant, she is Xander Berkeley's daughter on the show. She ends up actually having a bit of witch in her as well. And she turns out to be a really powerful form of witch, and she murders Xander Berkeley and her mother. And we basically see Xander Berkeley's face get impaled. There's spoilers in the title, okay. So that was pretty brutal. And then there are other, sort of more tense moments, like where they're testing for witches when this character named Mercy Lewis, she sort of becomes a character we're supposed to feel bad for, but then she's kind of set up as our new antagonist going into season 2. So I found that to be kind of interesting. But they use her to sort of like try to weed out these other witches, and there are moments like that where it feels a little bit darker as well as a friend of John Alden's in the first episode or so that gets executed with, like rocks crushing him. It definitely still does a good job of showing like that grittiness and sort of that, just how bad that kind of situation might have been. It's still a very dark show, and definitely gives me some satisfaction being a horror fan and stuff like that. So Salem, it's a damn good show, I think. Like I said, I should have given the show more attention when I was watching it with my girlfriend initially. I'll admit I was a bit of a dick. Oh, but I want to watch the stuff I want to watch. Why are we watching this? So I probably should have paid more attention to it when we were watching it. I wish I would have. But I'll admit, honey, I was wrong. This show is really, really good. So I'm not going to be able to remember like particular things about it all. But there's an episode also where like these former zombies are brought up, and Alden and Cotton, they sort of have to fend them off and such. And I thought that was actually really cool, almost better than a lot of Walking Dead episodes. So that was definitely a lot of fun. And yeah, like I said, I like Cotton a lot on the show as well. Seth Gabel's character, and him and Shane West, John Alden, they develop sort of a friendship. They sort of have the bromance on the show. They have some some kind of fun exchanges together. And Cotton grows to actually care a lot about Alden. Towards the end, he even defends him when Stephen Lang's character puts him on trial. So I really like how that developed as well. And the finale is definitely good with Mary manipulating Cotton into killing his father, who is kind of going overboard already. It was still a nice payoff to see Cotton put him down, Stephen Lang. But at the same time, I kind of wish it was more and more out of like his own decision instead of like Mary, like pushing him to that point to finally kill Stephen Lang. But it was still good to see, and like I told you how violent Xander Berkeley's death was. And John Alden, he sort of starts seeing more of his Indian ties and stuff like that when he's off in the war. And eventually Lucy Lawless also joins the show. It seems like she's going to be a major antagonist in season 2. We don't see her at the end of season 1, but I think we heard her mentioned at one point, and I definitely like what we've seen of her in season 2 so far. So yeah, overall, also Ido Goldberg, he plays a character named Isaac. He's sort of a supporting character, but he sort of becomes a friend to all of the main leads. He's fine as well. But I really like this show, and I'd rate the first season probably a B+. I liked it that much. I was debating between a B and B+, but I'm going B+ because there's really nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of very capable actors on the show. It's a fine story that I'm definitely willing to watch going forward. Definitely has that horror vibe I'm looking for. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I definitely think it should have gotten more attention. And like I said, I will be reviewing season 2 and 3 once I get to them. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this show if you had the chance to watch it. And if you haven't, go on Netflix right now and watch the first 2 seasons of the show, okay? I'm not sure when they're gonna put the 3rd and final season on there, but definitely check it out. Even watch it online or something. Don't install anything, but I'm sure you guys know what sites you can go to. So yeah, definitely give it a shot. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Walking Dead mid-season premiere tonight. I'd rather watch Salem, honestly. But catch you guys for that, and peace.